What is up, Cultivate students? How you guys feeling tonight? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And welcome to everybody who's watching online. I'm so excited. Like I said, I'm excited. You guys are here tonight. Like Derek said, how many of y'all are excited for some free Barons tickets? Come on. Yeah. Hey, Derek told y'all the deal. All right. Y'all can bring your friends. Who signed up? Who signed up already? Anybody? Okay, we got like one. So there's like 19 more tickets. Okay, so there's 18 more tickets. Okay, there's 17 more tickets. Slams are slowly going up. So. Okay, I'm not going to keep doing this. There's plenty of tickets out there. I'm not going to keep doing this. So, if you guys want your friends to go, we got free tickets, all right? It's 50-cent hot dog night. Like I said, I'm throwing my diet aside, and I'm turning into a fatty that night. So, I'm going to eat as many as I can. But your friends got to come next week because they need to sign themselves up. You can't sign them up. So, be ready, guys. It's going to be fun coming up. Okay, I got to say, why y'all keep looking at me and laughing?
Because you're like talking directly at us for like the
I'm not talking at you. I'm not talking. Does it make you feel special when I talk to you in front of everybody, Shiloh?
Yeah, it's weird. You're like, I feel like it's directed at me, man.
All right. Anyway, so last week we started our brand new series called Game Changer. I'm going to keep looking at him the whole time just because I can't now. So last week we introduced the series, and we kind of talked about what a game changer was. And we looked at a couple characteristics that a game changer has. And one of the two that we talked about was game-changing vision. So we talked about all game changers, and we went through and looked at a few from history, those that you may know from your classes, from school, that you hear about how they became game changers and how they changed history. Well, they all had vision in common because they saw the bigger picture. They didn't see what was right in front of them. They didn't have tunnel vision. They looked at the bigger spectrum. They looked at where they could be, where they could end up. So they had game-changing vision. The other thing we talked about is the second characteristic they had in common was they made game-changing decisions. They made the choice. It didn't matter how many times they failed. It didn't matter how many times they got it wrong. It didn't matter how many times people made fun of them for what they were doing. They made the decision to go for it. And we talked about that all of our game-changing decisions all start right here. They start in our heart. They start with our desire, our love, our value, the things that we want to do. And what we said was, what begins here can't stay here. We can't leave it in our mind. We have to take it from our heart to our mind, and the choices that we make, the decisions that we make to go forward and be game changers, we have to go out and do it. So as we talk about being a game changer, how many of you guys right now consider yourselves a game changer? Raise your hand if you consider yourself a game changer. All right, a few of you shot your hand straight up, like immediately. Those of you whose hand went up before I even finished, they probably have the biggest egos in this room. I'm one of those. My hand went up immediately. Some of y'all are like, I kind of consider myself a game changer. But do the people that are closest to you, your friends, your family, do they consider you a game changer? Do they consider you someone that can change the game for others? And not just that, not just those that are closest to you. It doesn't really matter what others think. Do you guys consider yourself a game changer? Do you consider yourself someone who can change the game? And as I kind of was thinking about this and things that we have, tonight we're going to be looking at game-changing beliefs. And we're going to be looking at labels that we put on ourselves or that others put on us and how that can affect us being a game changer. And as I was doing this and thinking about, it's actually happened yesterday. I had struggling over, I got to have a story for these guys. I got to think of one. And one happened this weekend. It actually happened this past Sunday. It was with a member who was extremely upset with us at the Y. She didn't like what happened. She didn't like our rules. She didn't like our policy. She was being rude and mean to our staff, and she was really just being extremely pushy this past weekend. Well, when this all went down and all this happened, what I found out, I come to work yesterday, and on Monday when I came in, I find out that she's taken a picture of one of our lifeguards sitting in the stand. She's posted it on some public Facebook forum with the headline like, "Lifeguards here are extremely rude, they have a bad attitude." She kind of wrote this, and in the end of it, she goes, to make situation better, they decide to go and just talk to some random member about my issue, about my problem. And she posted it on public forum for everybody to see. So I get to work, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to call this lady and just find out. So I call her, and I'm like, "Hi, ma'am, I'm Adam. I just want to, find out what happened. I apologize for anything that happened yesterday. Would you mind sharing your side of the story?" So she's telling me why she doesn't agree with our rules and why she doesn't And she kept saying the word assume. Like she kept saying, well, the lifeguards assume this. The lifeguards assume that. The lifeguards assume that I was upset about this when really I wasn't. And I didn't mention anything about the Facebook post. She even went on to go on about how I don't appreciate how they go talk to another staff member about or another person in the pool about my issue. That's just unprofessional. That's just rude and classless. And she put that in the post. She put that they were unprofessional. They had no class. And guys, these are like 16, 17-year-old kids. And so she put this in this post that for everybody to see. So as I'm ending and I'm talking to her, I was like, well, ma'am, can I be frank with you? Do you mind if, we just strip away the fact that I'm a manager and just, can I talk to you, just you and I? And she said, yes, please, I'd love that. And I said, well, I keep hearing you say assume. Like I keep hearing you say, they assumed this about you. They assumed this, they assume. Well, ma'am, I saw that you posted something on a public forum, which again, that's your prerogative. If you feel the need to use social media as an outlet, that's fine. I don't want to judge you. I'm not saying that. But what I want to let you know is while you keep saying the word assume, and you spoke about how upset you were with these lifeguards for talking to some random member, I want to let you know that member that they were talking to was actually one of our other managers. That was one of the other managers that was there just swimming with her children. And simply, what the manager was doing was encouraging them. Hey, you guys did a good job. Hey, I understand she was upset, but you guys handled it right. Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? And I'm like, so while you're saying assuming that they assume this, they assume that, you just did exactly what you're blaming them for. Like, boom. Like, guys, it went quiet. Like, she was like, well, that's totally, and then just from there, like, the whole conversation just died down. She goes, well, it's been handled, I understand, and, I said, I feel better about things now. Thank you so much for calling, and just, like, she got truth bombed. Like, I spit the truth. I told Leonard about that, my boss. He's like, preach to him. That's what I'm talking about. Show him that. Show him God. That's what I want. But she labeled them. And she put them in a public forum for everybody to label. People don't know. They just see a picture and they see a statement. They have no idea who they are. They have no idea what they did. They had no idea how hard they were working that day. They immediately labeled them. And tonight, that's kind of what we're looking at. We're talking about labels that are put on us, especially in public, in front of others that immediately judge us. Because sometimes we aren't what we believe. Like sometimes we are labeled and put something and we believe that, but that's not really who we are. The other thing is that a lot of times, how many of you guys know what a hashtag is? If you don't raise your hand, then you've been living under a rock. Okay, a hashtag. So hashtags are used to group things. They're used to put things together. For instance, we use a hashtag to put hashtag Cultivate students. So any picture, anything we post, it's grouped together. Right there, hashtag game changer. It's put into a group, but a hashtag is also a label. You put a label on something. When you put a hashtag with it, you've just labeled that. You've labeled that picture, you've labeled that tweet, you've labeled whatever it is you're talking about, and you've used that hashtag as a label. Now, what we're going to do tonight, we're talking a little bit about hashtags. You're going to hear me use that phrase a little bit tonight. But I got a fun game for you guys tonight. We're going to play the hashtag game. So here's the thing, and I'm going to say it to you just like Pastor Brandon would say, keep it PG, guys. All right? Keep it PG. That was back when he was like 19, 18, he used to say this. But in all honesty, guys, in this day and age, y'all need to just keep it G. All right? Because PG doesn't say nothing anymore. Okay? So y'all need to keep it G-rated. All right? What I'm going to do is the media team's going to throw up some pictures for you. When they do, what I want you guys to do is throw out your first hashtag. First thing you think when you see this picture. So let's hit them with our first video, guys. Or our first picture. Hashtag OMG. Hashtag OMG. Hashtag embarrassed. What was that?
Hashtag hilarious.
Hashtag hilarious. Let's hit them with the next picture.
Hashtag healthy.
What's this? Hashtag what?
Bored.
Hashtag bored. By the way, this is Parker, guys, and of course he's not here tonight. What?
Problem child.
Hashtag problem child. What was that?
Hashtag only Parker.
Hashtag only Parker. Just so you guys know, Parker is the kid that if you dare him to do anything and you even offer him $5, he's going to do it. So, all right, let's hit him with the next picture. What you got? Yeah! Yeah! I'm not telling. What's your hashtags? Come on.
Hashtag get a haircut.
Hashtag get a haircut. You better be glad I didn't use some of your model pictures, because I thought about it. All right, what else? Come on, all I heard was hashtag haircut. This is it?
Hashtag studs.
Hashtag stud. Hey, somebody's looking out for you. Let's hit him with our next picture. Hashtag. Hashtag what? Hashtag Jeff.
3GS.
Hashtag 3GS. Yes, look at that phone. Look at that phone. Hashtag what? Derek, you got a hashtag for this?
Hashtag college generation.
Hashtag college lips. Every night at midnight.
Every night. Do not feed the gremlins after midnight. All right, let's hit him with our next one.
Just say no.
Hashtag just say no. All right, our boy Sanchez. What we got?
God did it.
Hashtag God did it. Look at that right there. Hashtag what? Hashtag I work at Target. Sanchez, you got a hashtag? No. All right.
Hashtag no comment.
Hashtag no comment. All right, next one. What y'all got? This is Pastor Brandon Doss, by the way, guys. He's a little excited about his hamburger. Hashtag cheese.
Hashtag round 2. No.
Hashtag no diet.
Hashtag no diet. Hashtag it's my cheat day, so feel good about yourself, Pastor Brandon. All right, let's hit him with our next one. Yeah. Hashtag flip burger.
Be a lot.
What? Can we just ask real quick, what is it that you're eating there, Pastor B?
There's no sound. It's some sort of.
It looks like you're eating ketchup on a knife. Hashtag gross. Hashtag extremely excited. All right, I think I got what? One more? All right, one more. Last one. Hey, you guys need to first and foremost. Hey, let me tell you backstory. Why I'm putting myself up there. All right. Pastor Brandon apparently he's sensitive to being made fun of on the platform. So if I make fun of myself first, he really can't do it because he constantly threatens to do it. But so I decided just to throw that out there. By the way, guys, Emily bought this shirt for me. Brandon Doss, my bad. Wait, what was that? Hashtag. So Emily says she bought this as hashtag humor. I think she really thought I would wear it, but.
Hashtag that's a recent picture, and that's your new house.
That's not our house. Hashtag that shirt is sitting in my car right now. All right, so here's what's funny. Yeah, those pictures, but think about it. You guys were able to label those pictures within like milliseconds. Like you see it and you immediately throw a hashtag up there. So you were able, funny, whatever it is, it's funny, but you still were able to label it. You still were able to put a hashtag on it. But here's what goes with that. Even though that we hashtag, we put labels on things, labels on people, is that we also get hashtagged. We also get labeled by others. When we do, sometimes those hashtags or those labels, they can have a negative effect on us. They can tear us down and keep us from being what we want to be because we believe these labels. Because if we believe them, it affects us. Because the ultimate thing is what we believe determines who we become. So if we believe these labels, negative or not, when we believe these, we can become those things. It keeps us from being what God has created us to be. So I want you guys tonight, go ahead and pull out your phones. I want you to pull out, if you have your Bible with you, go ahead and turn with me to John chapter 8. Because that's where we're going to spend most of our night tonight. And in this part in John chapter 8, Jesus is teaching to a crowd. Well, what we're going to find is that there's these men that have this woman that drag her into the circle where Jesus is teaching, and they make accusations and accuse her of mistakes she's made. And so what we're going to do is look at that and look at how they use those labels to define who she was. So go ahead and turn. We're going to start down in verse 2. Like I said, John chapter 8. And it says, early the next morning, he went back again to the temple. Now, real quick, a temple, this is back in the day, a temple is technically the church. So if you live back in this time, you're like, hey, you want to go to the temple with me? It's the same thing as you saying, like, hey, do you want to go to church with me? And so a crowd soon gathered, and he sat down and he taught them. As he was speaking, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. Now, if you guys don't know what adultery is, simply, and this is, again, keeping our minds G, it means that she had sex with someone who wasn't her husband. That's essentially what adultery was. So these men grab her and they bring her out, and it finishes. They put her in front of the crowd. So for whatever reason, this woman has made a mistake. And these men have grabbed her and they've brought her in this circle. They've had all these people around them, and they put her in front of Jesus right there to show her the mistakes that she's made. Now, everybody's watching. Everybody who's watching Jesus teach, even religious leaders are there. Now, back in the day, religious leaders didn't really care for Jesus very much. You may think, well, religious leaders and Jesus, they're all Christianity. They all must go together like peanut butter and jelly. They didn't. They didn't always get along with Jesus. They didn't like who he was. They didn't believe he was the Son of God. They didn't believe the things he said, and they didn't like the fact that everybody flocked to him and everybody wanted to learn from him. So they constantly are trying to catch him in some type of loophole. They're just trying to trick him into doing something or saying something wrong and trying to catch him in that loop. Now, during this time, Jesus is like that kid that you always try to give a hard time, and you try to make fun of, and you try to trick, and no matter what, he always flips it on you and makes you look stupid. Because Jesus is like, I already know what's going on. I know what's up. I can see right through you. I know what you guys are doing. So let's continue real quick, and we'll see exactly how they're talking about how he's trying to trick him. It's going to be down in verse 4, same of chapter 8. And what it says is, teacher, they said to Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? And here's where you actually see it in verse 6, where it talks about that they're trying to trick Jesus. It says they were trying to trap him into saying something that they could use against him. Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. So here's the thing, guys. Jesus ain't even sweating them right now, okay? Jesus don't need no deodorant because Jesus don't sweat. That's all there is to it. Jesus is not even sweating what they're saying right now. I said it, and I'll say it again. Jesus doesn't need no deodorant because Jesus doesn't sweat, all right? They come and they bring him. They put this woman in front of her. She is sitting there in public, all right, guys? There are labels being thrown left and right. Take this situation and put it in modern day. All right, what's the first thing that's going to happen if this was going on? Where's it going on? Instagram, Twitter, social media. People are going to be mean as can be, like, oh, this woman's hashtag a whore. This woman's hashtag a homewrecker. This woman's hashtag this, hashtag that. Like, they're going to be, they don't even know who she is, and they're hashtagging everything there is to be about her. Everything that they're doing. And then you're going to have some of those people that aren't going to be as harsh, and they're going to be like, oh, Jesus is about to throw it down. I know he is. Hashtag show him up, Jesus. Hashtag give him the word. Hashtag speak the truth. Hashtag show it to him. Like, people are doing it. And then you're going to have a couple people that are going to be in that crowd that are going to be like, oh, this poor girl. Hashtag, I'm sorry. Hashtag, oh, I wish I could help her. Hashtag this. Like, there's all this going on. So all these people, she's stuck in the middle, and she's just labeling them. And what's so cool to me about this entire thing is Jesus is back to drawing in the dirt, guys. Like, Jesus doesn't care. Jesus is over there like, all right, I got you. He's back to drawing in the dirt. He's not sweating. He knows what they're doing. He can see right through them, especially because they're claiming for her to be killed. We've talked about before that when you're stoned, it is probably one of the worst ways to die. It is slow and painful. Only two things are going to happen. You're either going to bleed to death from being hit by stones, or by the grace of God, you're going to get hit right in the head with a rock and you're out for the rest of it. So that's what's going on. So they're claiming for her life to be killed because she made a mistake. And everybody's around watching her. Everybody's around is labeling her these things because she made a mistake. But how does Jesus respond? That's what's so cool about this. What does Jesus say to this situation that they're trying to throw him in? And let's continue down in verse 7. And here's what it says. And you guys are going to bear with me for a minute because we're going to break this verse up. It says, they kept demanding an answer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it always kind of just shocks me when I read this. Like, you're standing in front of Jesus. You're like, Jesus, I need to know now. You need to stop what you're doing, quit playing in the dirt, and tell me. Like, this woman's got to die, right? Like, this is what's going on. So they're demanding for him to quit doing whatever he's doing and answer what they have to say. And he says, so he stood up again and said, all right, That was Jesus' response. All right. So he stood up and said, all right to them. Can you imagine if you're that woman? Like you're sitting there and you're like, oh goodness, what's he about to say? Like Jesus, you don't even know. Like he may have paused. We weren't there. He could have said, all right, and let it just pause a little bit. You know, people are out there tweeting like, oh, it's about to go down. Like Jesus is about to drop. I know Jesus is about to drop some truth. We're sitting here. People are posting pictures. They're tagging videos. They're just waiting to see what Jesus has to say. And here's exactly what he says. All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Then he stooped down again, and he's right back to writing in the dirt. Guys, hashtag truth bomb, hashtag the truth is real, hashtag like silent. Just like it was on the phone that day. Done. Like Jesus just dropped the biggest amount of truth he can say. And you know what he did? He silenced the crowd with 14 words. Silence the crowd with 14 words. All right, let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Like people are not even saying anything. You know, Twitter's going crazy. Jesus is trending on the top Twitter. You've got all those hashtags. Everything's going like Jesus has just dropped the biggest truth bomb that there is. And how you know he says again how he's not sweating it. He's back to playing in the dirt, guys. He didn't care. He doesn't even care what these religious leaders are saying to him. He knows exactly what they're trying to do, and he can see right through them. He literally goes back to playing in the dirt without even thinking. Let's finish up real quick how it goes. And down in verse 9 it says, when the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? And she says, no, Lord. And then Jesus says, neither do I. Now go and sin no more. Again, Jesus is hashtag truth bombs everywhere. Like he has silenced his crowd. He's taken these leaders that are putting these labels on this woman that was just dragged in the middle. Yeah, she made a mistake. Yeah, she made a huge mistake. But they're trying to label her. Not only are they trying to label her for it, they're trying to call for her death. Just some random woman they found caught in the act of adultery. And they're trying to use that to get rid of them. See, here's the thing, guys. Jesus knows we're going to make mistakes. Jesus knows that we as humans are going to take those mistakes we make, those labels that are put on us for our mistakes, and he knows that we're going to internalize them. He knows that we're going to let those mistakes do nothing but just eat away inside of us. He knows that we're going to let those mistakes just do nothing more than define who we are. We are going to let those mistakes just change everything about us. Now, in the past, you guys have heard me say your decisions, they decide who you are. As I was writing this message, I thought to myself, that's a lie. Like, I know I've said that, but that's not true. Because here's the thing. It's not your decisions or our mistakes that define who you are. It's the decisions we make after the mistake. Those are the decisions that define who we are after we make that mistake. Now, when I say that, what I mean is when you make a mistake and you are given a label for something you do you continue to make that mistake over and over and over again? Because that's defining who you are. Or do you take that mistake, you learn from it and know, I can't do that again. I'm going down the wrong path. I'm going down the way I shouldn't, and you go down the other way. So remember, it's not the decisions you make or your mistakes you make that define who you are. It's the decisions that you make after your mistake that define who you are. A pastor by the name of Perry Noble, I was listening to him this week, and he was talking about labels. Labels that we put on people as humans, labels that we give. And something he said I thought was so powerful is there's really only two people in this world that can give a label. There's only two people in this world that can label people or label things. And here's what he said. The first one that we have is the inventor or the creator. For instance, people like Under Armour or Nike or Apple, whatever it is, they invent things. They have the right to put their label on it. They have the right to name it whatever they want to name it. It doesn't matter if it sounds stupid. It doesn't matter if it sounds like the coolest thing you've ever heard. They have the right because they're the inventor. The second person that has the right to label something is the buyer. How many of you guys have ever, your parents have ever bought you something and said, put your name on it, write your name on your backpack, write your name on your ball, write your name on your football, whatever it is, write your name on it. So you're the buyer, you have the right to label it. Nobody else has that unless you're the inventor or you're the buyer. You're the only person that has the right to do that. Now, take that same thing and point that toward God. Okay, God is our inventor. God is our buyer. He bought our sins with his son's death. But that shows you is only God has the right to label us. Nobody else does. Only God does. So when we say that, when you hear those things, who are you guys going to believe? Do you guys believe everybody that's over here on the right side that's labeling you and putting you in a certain category? Or do you believe the guy that created you, and not only created you, but the guy that bought you? Do you believe that one, or do you believe the other side? Will you listen to everyone else around you? So when you guys go to school this week, or you're spending time with your family, or wherever you are, and you're being labeled, or you're being told that you're something, or you go this direction, who are you guys going to listen to? Who are you going to believe? Here's what I don't want you to miss out on. I want you guys to write this down. Don't miss out on this tonight. It's not others who define who we are. It's God who defines who we are. We don't need to listen to what others say we are. We need to listen to who God says we are. Because again, God is our inventor. God is our creator. If you don't believe me when I make that statement, just take the time and read the Bible. Read what it says. It says in the Bible that we are capable. God says we are capable. God says that we are called. God says that through him all things are possible. God tells us, he puts these labels on us. Or you guys can listen to everybody else around you. One more example I have for you guys, and I'm going to close tonight, is a story I heard. And it was about a brother and a sister who decided to race their cars. And this guy had this big, souped-up, amazing Camaro. And it was this fantastic old school. I mean, it had like old school muscle in it. It was just this huge revving engine. And then his sister had this little like 1978 Honda Accord. This little like pup-up car, okay? And they loved to race. And they decided one day they're going to race home. So, of course, the big brother in the big old Camaro beats him all the way home. Okay, he gets home, he gets in the garage, he's just waiting for her. Like 5 minutes later, she shows up. And of course, like any man who wins a race, he revs his engine. All right, and as soon as he does, all you hear is like the engine just dies. So this guy takes his car and he's just distraught. Like he feels like he's just destroyed his car. And he calls a bunch of his buddies who work on cars and do things, and they go through and they're like, dude, you destroyed your car. Like he said, it's going to cost like thousands of dollars to fix this thing. And this was a car that he loved, he put his life into, that he wanted so badly. So what he decided is he's going to save up every dime he has. And he's going to put all that money back into the car as soon as he has enough to fix it because of how expensive it is. So at the end, it takes him almost 10 years to be able to fix this car. And he goes and he takes it to the mechanic that he wants, and he has all this money. He's ready to get it fixed, and they get into the shop, and then they open up the hood, and when he's done, he has all that work put into it, and they fix it, and they come out and they go, well, sir, that'll cost you $40. And he goes, $40? And he said, yeah, the only thing that was wrong with it is the water pump went out. See, here's the thing with that story. He didn't take it to the creator. He didn't take it to the person that made it. He didn't take it to the specialist. He listened to all of his friends. He lost 10 years of his life with a car that he loved because he chose to listen to his friends. He chose to listen to the people who had no idea what they were talking about, say, oh man, that cost you thousands of dollars, when really all it was a $40 water pump fix. That's all that it took. And some of you guys aren't living your life to be a game changer. You're living your life to be alive because you don't believe what you really are. You listen to the labels that school puts on you. You listen to the labels that other people put on you, friends or those that don't believe in you. You let them put the labels on you. And guys, every single week, my prayer for you simply is that you'll find these changes, these little bitty things that show you that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, that you are amazing, that you have more skills than you guys could ever believe if only you would listen to God and you would trust in God and you would walk with God and put your faith in him. So who will you guys listen to? Again, are you going to listen to all the people that are over here just hashtagging you, putting labels on you? Or are you guys going to come over here where Jesus is and listen to what he has to say about you? Because what you believe determines who you will become. I want you guys to go ahead and bow your head for me tonight. And as your heads are bowed, I want you to kind of think about that first question I had for you. Others that are around you, would they consider you a game changer? Would you consider yourself a game changer? If you're here tonight and you hadn't been living in that way and you've been listening to the labels that are put on you, if you know right now that you hear the way that people talk about you at school or maybe even your own family puts labels on you that you don't like, and you know, hey, that's not me, that's not who I am. And tonight's your night that you can change that. You can listen to the person that created you. I want you guys just to raise your hand for me so I can spend this week praying for you. And if you're here as well, and you know that you haven't been living for God, you don't even have a relationship with God, the guy that put all that work into creating you, our God that put all that work into making sure that you were beautifully and wonderfully made. And not only did he buy you, he sent his son to die for your sins. He had to watch his son hang on a cross in agony to pay for everything that we ever do. God is our inventor and God is our creator. And all you guys have to do is make a choice to follow him. Make a choice to make God the leader of our life. If you're ready for that step, if you're ready to make that decision, I want you guys just to slip your hand up for me. If you're not ready to put that hand up, you can also put that on that Connect card that Derek talked about. If you have questions about that decision, or you're ready to make that choice, but you're not ready to make it public yet, put it on that card. God, we love you. Every week we continue to thank you for these students that spend their Tuesday night here with us. And God, I understand that sometimes it's hard to not believe the labels that people put on us, to let those things just come into our minds and take us over, and that we so easily listen to the world instead of listening to you. You're right there, sitting on our shoulder, holding our hands, telling us this is not who you are. This is not who I made you to be. I have made you to be this. I have made you to be that. And God, I just ask that you just close down the enemy, those poisonous thoughts that are put in their heads about who they are, who society claims them to be, God. I just ask that you just walk with them, show them that you are our ultimate creator, that you are exactly who you made us to be. God, I just want to thank you for those that made the decision tonight to know that I need to stop listening to the labels of this world. I need to stop listening to those around me, and I need to turn and listen to what you say. And God, I ask that those that made that choice, that as they go on this week, that they don't lose that. They don't just fall away from that, God, that they continue to fall into that. They continue to just allow you to take over their life, God. God, we love you. I thank you for the work that you're doing in these students' lives, God, and I thank you for the plans that you have for them right now. In your holy and blessed name we pray. Amen.